Fandom, how's it going? Today we're going to be looking at the Lock and Key Master Edition, written by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. So let's get into it. Joe Hill's a writer that has been in the industry for a very long time, and he's actually really well known at this point for two things. One, he actually writes some really kick-ass books. Horns, Nosferatu, a bunch of other stuff, 20th Century Ghost. The guy is really great. I love his work. Lock and Key, though, to me, is his magnum opus. Fun fact, by the way, Joe Hill is also known as the son of author Stephen King. So when he first broke out into the industry, he didn't want to go by the King name because he wanted to make it on his own. I think he's done a good job. Lock and Key centers around the Locke family, and the Locke family at the beginning of this story is going through something extremely tragic. Something's happened to their father and they've had to move into this house called Lovecraft Manor. The kids soon discover that something isn't really right in Lovecraft Manor. There are these weird keys that are scattered throughout the house that if you use them on certain doors, they give you special abilities. Hence the name Lock and Key. Now everything in the story starts out good and well, and the kids are having fun, they're having a blast, they're using the keys to fly around places. Some keys unlock things, like you can actually physically unlock somebody's head, take out memories, put memories in, take out emotions, put emotions in. It's a really great concept, and Joe Hill explores it, in my opinion, to the best of his ability, because a lot of the keys are really cool. One of my personal favorites is the shadow key, where the shadows can come alive, and depending on your personality and what you want to do with the shadows, they can be good or they can be evil. The story eventually takes a turn for the worse as the Locke family is eventually being hunted down by this psychotic kid who he has ties to the Locke family's dad. I'm not going to get into too many spoilers here, but suffice to say, it gets very dark and very terrifying. Even at the beginning of the story, through the first few pages, you're like, oh man, Joe Hill is not playing around here. He's killing off characters very fast. This kid is actually also being led by this possessed spirit, the spirit of the well. The spirit of the well in this series eventually becomes the antagonist, and I'm going to call it this antagonist, the spirit, is probably one of my top 10 favorite villains in all of comics that I've ever read. You really do hate the guy. But as the series goes on, you do feel sympathetic for him because you find out what happened in the past to the spirit and how he came to be what he is today. From a story perspective, I think Lock and Key is probably one of the best horror books that has been on the stands in like the past 10 years. It really is. It surpasses almost anything else. I love this book so much. Joe Hill's original pitch for this was, what happens when you start caring about the characters in a slasher film, in a ghost story? Because what is really common in a lot of horror movies and a lot of horror books today is that you really don't care about the characters. They're just food for fodder. They're just meat for the grinder. And Joe Hill said, no. Let's see what happens when you really do care about the characters, and when I start offing them, how are you going to feel? Oh, so great. Let's talk about the art for a moment, and Gabriel Rodriguez, the artist on this, is a beast. I love this guy's style. He draws kids that look like kids. That's a problem with me and a lot of artists today, that they draw kids and they don't look like kids. They just look like like little people with huge heads on them. Perfect. I love the guy's art. It's creepy. He uses shadows so well. He uses the dark spots in the panels so well. The action scenes are so great. You love these kids. You really want to see them grow. You want to see them get out of this horror story alive. And part of that has to do with Gabriel Rodriguez's master style. Fun fact, the guy is actually an architect, and he drew the entire floor plan for this house in this story. And it's actually even included in the book here. So I'll give you a quick look at that. So he drew the entire floor plan, which Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez eventually said later on, yeah, that kind of bit us in the ass because we had to stick to the floor plan of the house. This being the Master Edition, you're probably expecting some special features in here. Not really that much. I was actually kind of disappointed in this. I expected maybe some scripts, some sketches, some things like that. Not really anything like that. I was kind of disappointed in that. I was like, man, you had a chance to put something together very special and you didn't. I understand that there is a more expensive edition. There's like a $200 edition or something like that a lot of it is out of print, that does include scripts and special features, and it's a very nice presentation. But I just don't have the $200 right now to fork over for that. But this is the Master Edition, and it is a little bit bigger than your standard IDW hardcover, and it collects the first 12 issues of the story, so the first 2 volumes of it. And in the back, it has, like I said, the floor plan. It has a few sketches here and there, more of the floor plan and of the island. And it has some details on the keys, which this actually came in the standard hardcovers. Like the details and the background information on some of the keys that was in there. So it's really not many special features on here. I'm kind of disappointed in that. But I will say, presentation-wise, this is a beautiful looking book. I'm not too crazy about this cover. I think the original covers were a lot better, but I do like the feeling of it. It's kind of raised, and you see there's keys there. There's the head key and all that. And there's the side. I'll show you that. IDW put together a very nice presentation of the package here. This is something that you probably put on your coffee table, and your friends will immediately be drawn to it if they come to your house and you're like, oh, what's this? And they look at the art and they're just going to go, oh my gosh, it looks great. I also like this. This is really cool. It shows you the entire island. If this is your first time checking out my channel, I do weekly reviews like the one you just saw here. I also cover other comic books, manga, video games. I'm doing things like that. If you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, please do so. That is the best way to get a hold of me. I love hearing back from you. And if you've read Locke and Key, what is your favorite key? You guys are awesome. Love to hear back from you. Bye.